Good morning, Michigan. A very pleasant Thursday to you. Michael Patrick Shiels, radio stations across the state of Michigan. The Dow was up 432 yesterday, the NASDAQ up 307, and the S&P up 76. Futures are up this morning. And Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey, the Republican from Clark Lake, is on our AT&T line right this very moment. Thank you for the valuable time, sir.
You're welcome, Michael. Well, good morning to you, sir.
What sort of symbol is on your mask these days?
Mine is very simple. It's just an old handkerchief.
Okay.
that my wife crafted into a legitimate mask with a 1 micron filter in it, and it's very kind of just innocent-looking mask.
Thank you very much. Last thing we need are more sideshows. And by the way, I've heard of people putting coffee filters inside a handkerchief if that's the best they can do. So people are getting creative, aren't they?
Exactly, and coffee filters are a very legitimate option if that's all you've got.
It's amazing what people will do if you leave them to their creativity, isn't it?
Michael, I know what you're referring to, and when we started this venture together a couple months ago and this insidious virus showed up in Michigan, we didn't have time or data to be able to put together a robust, elegant plan. We had to defer to the heavy-handed, blunt force instrument, one-size-fits-all of government, and we did it, and I supported it. But since then, we've learned a lot, and the response from people of the entire spectrum of Michigan have demonstrated that we are now transitioning from having to operate under that kind of governance structure, transitioning from having to operate under executive order after executive order to more of a regular order legislative process. Now, there's nothing about me, Michael, to suggest that this virus has gone away or that it's any less of a threat. But we now go from emergency to managing, and we can do that. We can do it smartly.
Is the Michigan State Senate, and indeed you yourself, now inconsequential in the governor's eyes?
Well, I believe that she may have that viewpoint. I've never viewed it that way. Politics has ebbs and flows, and I hate to put it into a metaphor of athletic event, but sometimes that's exactly what it is. And you win a quarter, you lose a quarter, you get scored upon, you get sacked, but the game's not over until the game's over. And I stipulate that in a true state of emergency, when a governor truly needs access to emergency declarations and executive orders, that the legislature is muted a bit. But that should be for a bit and not for perpetuity.
Kyle Malin from MERS News asked you a question yesterday, and here's how you answered it. It became the MERS News quote of the day.
She's made it very clear for a number of weeks now that she's very comfortable being a dictator. This state is never ever intended to be run by one person, and so it doesn't surprise me that she continues to act that way.
And his colleague, Senator Shirkey, Chad Livengood at Cranes, which is another nonpartisan publication, said that in a matter of an hour, Governor Whitmer torpedoed the Republican legislature and its leadership and shattered any trust she may have with you. Will you not send her emails anymore after she took your emails and made them public, turned them over to the media yesterday?
Well, I'm not going to say never. That's a very dangerous word to say in politics, but I will say we'll be very much more careful and measured, and maybe even have asked the question of the safety of such exchanges before sending them.
Why do you think she did that?
I have absolutely no clue, and I encourage you to ask. It may have been a mistake. I don't know. It certainly wasn't used as if it was a mistake.
The other thing that Chad Livengood points out is that the governor handed her microphone over to the AFL-CIO president, Ron Bieber, who used part of his time to lay into the legislature. How did that stick in your craw?
I didn't see it, and probably is a good idea that I haven't seen it yet, because it would just add to the my focus today, if you will. But as it's been replayed to me and discussed and explained to me, it sounds like it was more of a Democratic political rally than a governor giving a statement on conditions in the state of Michigan.
Isn't that interesting when the governor and her administration have clearly tried to label the Republicans as politicizing the pandemic?
Well, you don't have to look very far to see sarcasm and irony, so that's all I'm going to say about that.
Amber McCann says that your assessment is that the governor gave you the double middle finger in terms of rhetoric. Do you stand by that statement?
Well, Michael, based on what you observed, what metaphor would you have used?
Well, I guess inconsequential is the word that I come up with. That
Well, that's a word, but I think sometimes word pictures are more appropriate. So I just
I'll buy that.
All
You
right.
talked about your focus for today. What is your focus today? Where do we all go from here with this?
Our focus today is to memorialize in the statute the executive orders that need to survive, because they provide enormous protections for those who are fighting this disease and this virus that has not left Michigan. It is still a serious challenge for us, and get that done so that there's, regardless of what our governor does in terms of the emergency declaration, there's no chance for a gap in coverage.
When the governor says that construction can resume on May 7th, why not till then, when she announced it yesterday?
Well, it's even more Byzantine than that. She told me directly on Monday of this week that when I asked her about construction, she said, "Yeah, that's the next thing we're going to evaluate. We're going to apply the model that the Merck group came up with." And I said, "Well, how long do you think that'll take?" And she said, "Oh, about 10 days." I said, "Okay, I don't know why it's going to take 10 days." The very next day, she announced that the construction was going to open up on May 7th, to which I replied, yesterday it was going to be 10 days. Today it's affirmed, official. So what are we going to learn between now and May 7th that's going to be any different than we know today? Therefore, why aren't we releasing people to go do it today? And,
Did you get an answer?
Of course, I did not get an answer.
Well, Jeff Wiggins from Associated Builders and Contractors told us they're ready. They already practice social distancing. They already have practices for safety in place, and nobody's more ready to go back to work than the construction people. Thank you very much for your time, Senator. Travel safely, and let us know how we can help.
Have a great day, Michael. Thank you.